Every tradition worth its salt starts in the same place, with someone who forgets. In the Hebrew scriptures, it's a garden and a bite of fruit, and suddenly two people who walked with God in the cool of the day are hiding from him, ashamed of their own skin. In Plato's cave, it's prisoners chained since childhood, watching shadows on a wall and mistaking them for the whole of reality, never knowing there is a fire behind them and a sun beyond that. In the Taoist tradition, it's the 10,000 things scattering out from the one, undifferentiated Tao, each thing forgetting it was ever whole. In the Hindu and Buddhist traditions, it's Maya, the veil of illusion that convinces a soul it is separate, small, and alone when it was never actually cut off from anything. Different words. Same event, a being that knew wholeness and then didn't. Here is what almost nobody tells you about this part of the story. It isn't a punishment, it's a structural requirement. You cannot have a hero's journey without a hero who has forgotten they're capable of the journey. You cannot have a prodigal son without a far country. The forgetting isn't the flaw in the design, it is the design. Joseph Campbell spent a career pointing out that this same shape shows up in nearly every mythology on Earth for a reason. It's not describing an event that happened once to one culture. It's describing something that happens to every human being who has ever been born into a body and forgotten for a while what they actually are underneath it. Think about your own fall for a moment, not the big traumatic headline of it, the quieter mechanics underneath. There was a version of you once who wanted things without apologizing for them, who trusted their own instincts before anyone taught them not to, who hadn't yet built a personality out of other people's expectations. Somewhere between that child and the adult reading this sentence, a kind of amnesia set in. You started performing a life instead of living one. You started asking, what should I want, instead of noticing what you already wanted. You started calling other people's dreams for you a practical decision, and you started calling your own dreams unrealistic, and you did this so smoothly, so gradually, that you never noticed the exact day the forgetting finished. This is the first truth, and it is stated almost identically across every wisdom tradition on record. You are not a broken thing that needs fixing. You are a whole thing that has forgotten its wholeness. Wayne Dyer used to put it plainly, you didn't come here empty, needing to be filled up by achievement or approval. You came here full, and then you spent years being convinced otherwise. Neville Goddard went further, and this is worth sitting with even if it unsettles you a little. The world you're forgetting yourself inside of is not as solid as it looks. The circumstances that convinced you to shrink, the failures, the doubts, the people who told you who you were allowed to be, were never the final word. They were the cave wall, shadows, mistaken for the whole of reality, exactly as Plato said 24 centuries ago. So if you are reading this book because something in your life fell apart, a marriage, a career, an identity you built your whole self around, I want you to hear this clearly. That fall is not evidence that you are broken. It is evidence that you are exactly where every single meaningful story in human history begins. The fall is not the opposite of the journey. The fall is the journey starting. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not uniquely lost. You are at the part of the story where the forgetting is finally complete enough that something in you has started quietly to notice it happened. That noticing is the first candle. Keep it lit. The next chapter is about what you do with the wound that comes right after it. Thank you. That was an excerpt out of one of my books on Kindle. That one is called Remembered 5 Ancient Truths. I hope you enjoyed it.